Good morning, y'all. It's your boy Flash Speaks back, man, real quick. Before I get to Sophie Cunningham, who is just probably one of the most annoying people that I've seen just probably in sports period. I think she's just woo. But I saw a good portion of the interview Caitlin Clark did on Sue Bird's channel. I've watched a couple of her interviews with Cher, like Jewel Lloyd on there. Um, and a few of the others, Chelsea Gray and stuff like that. I like that kind of stuff, to get some of the background insights and, especially when they start talking basketball and all of that. And the interview with Caitlin Clark was all right. You know what I mean? It was cool. It was a particular thing I was looking for in terms of how she felt about being guarded in W, and it was all right. It was just pretty much her speaking on the differences between, college and the WNBA and how, you need more counters in the W versus the college. Now, what I'm glad to hear is I didn't hear her complain about physicality or anything like that, because if that was the case, then that would be a problem for me. But I didn't hear that. At least from the portion I listened to. If anyone knows of where that might have happened, you can kind of let me know. And I go check it out. But my thing was, her fan base. They complain about physicality and stuff like that, as if there's no physicality that goes on in other games. They act like there's some special targeting that's going on with her, which is ridiculous. I could just literally, and I'm putting together right now a compilation of stuff that's happening to other players. There's a player with DJ Carrington is driving, and one of the ladies on Minnesota. This is when she was with Connecticut. One lady's in Minnesota, she's coming up with the ball, just grabbed both her arms, hands, and just pulled her down. She just fell. Boom, and then there's no big outrage on the part of her fans, that we should be doing some government investigation. That type of talk is just horrible. I mean, that's just so soft and punkish beyond what I can even imagine. All of that stuff. So I'm working on that right now, compiling that. Now to Sophie Cunningham. Sophie Cunningham, among other things, okay, comes out and after they lost to the Dallas Wings, you flat out lost, and honestly. Most people would say you have no business losing to the Dallas Wings. Caitlin Clark or not. Dallas Wings are a team that haven't even won 10 games this year. May not win 10 games this year. And Sophie Cunningham's complaining about the refs giving Paige Beckers, foul calls, blowing the whistle for Paige Beckers. And I'm like, this broad, beyond all the other stupid things that she says pretty much regularly. This is bro, don't nobody want to hear you complaining about no refs giving nobody calls. Now, listen, it's one thing they complain about refs in general to say that, the officiating in general is bad, or complain about calls you're not getting. But to call out a specific player and say that they're just calling every foul call for this player, she's a sucker, bro. She's a sucker, amongst the other things that she is. That's just don't nobody want to hear that shit, because of the fact that if so in a world where, let's say, Sophie Cunningham is getting foul calls called for herself, let's say it's too many, let's say you're flopping and you're doing these types of things, because she is a flopper, right? I definitely don't want to hear a flopper do that, right? Because what happens if Sophie's getting the foul calls? Is she going to complain about it, that she's getting every call? Of course not. And this is the same thing. I don't want to hear no players do that, because I ain't never yet heard a player complain when the whistle is blown for them, right? There's players who've gone to the foul line 15 times in a game, and I've never heard them ever say, "Oh man, the refs keep blowing the whistle for me." No, so don't bitch about it if it's happening with somebody else, because let's just stop it. At the end of the day, players don't like when the whistle is blown for them when they're playing defense, or blown on them when they're playing defense, and they love when the whistle's blown for them when they're on offense. So don't nobody want to hear that shit, Sophie. You know what I mean? So come on, Telly Bundy, go ahead with your little stuff like that. Keep on cloud chasing and trying to be cool with the popular kid in class. I see what you're doing. See right through all your nonsense. You know what I mean? But that's like, man, what's wrong with this girl, man? What's wrong with her, bro? So, I guess I could talk briefly about the Chicago Sky. I watched part of that game yesterday. I'm to the point where I really have no more interest, in the team at all until maybe Angel Reese comes back, so that way at least I can watch, her development as a player. But Chicago Skies, we know, not going to the playoffs at all. It's pretty much, I don't know if they've been mathematically eliminated yet, but they've got to be close to that. He continues to keep playing these bums, not really giving young players who people want to see develop much of a chance. I guess Maddie Westbell's getting a little bit of a chance because of Angel Reese being out, but I'm not seeing the development on the part of Van Lith. I'm not seeing the things that matter now at this point in the year. They still hadn't made any moves, even though it's too late right now, and to make moves right now is pointless, but when they were in the thick of it, they didn't. So it's like, who really cares? Who really cares right now? As far as I'm concerned, they get one more chance, one more offseason to at least put something that is competent around Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso and Ariel Atkins if she decides to stay. Or, I'm going to be telling Angel Reese every week, every time I open up this camera, that she needs to get the hell up out of there. That's just pretty much how it's going to be for that. It's quite simple. So, that's all I got on that right now today, man. Tell me what you guys think.